It's time for another sprint zone, and this one is going to be for Vine Road, 913. Prospect had been closed for some road work, and so we had to change the venue here. So it'll add for a little bit of different tactics, and we'll see how things get on. Looking ahead, we're heading towards the intersection at Vine, where we're going to make the right-hand turn. The rules of engagement will state that we will not begin until we cross the railroad tracks. Not these tracks here, but the tracks that are wickedly angled a little bit further up the road, probably about 100 yards or so. The team makes a reasonable stop here, and it's on to the venue. Got the big man next to me, Matthew Michaels. Haven't seen him in a while, but looking strong. He's just coming off of a race win from the weekend, a 70.3. So congrats to him. Rolling up on the posse. It looks like Greg in the First City kit. Don't know if he's riding for that team now, but it looks good on him, and it fits much nicer than some of his other more pedestrian, less race fit jerseys. See John in the USA kit and a few others here. And now we're going to cross these nasty railroad tracks. You can see how Greg swings out because he doesn't want to hit these things straight on. Arguably, you can hit them straight on, but it's just not pleasant. The mountain bikers don't have a problem here. It's the roadies, and no disrespect here. It's just they're a little more caution. They don't know how to lift the front wheel and unweight it as you have to do over the roots. Regardless, it's time to get the party started, and we're moving up. We see the big group today. We see John. We see Justin. We got Kent back there in the red. We got Ian in the HP kit. Scott, Michael, Ian, Dean, Isla, Hernan, and Joel, who we haven't seen for a long while, as I go off the front. Hernan gives me a salute. I don't know if he's wondering why people didn't go after me, but he takes up the mantle and decides that he needs to cover this move. It isn't a real move, but I need to keep people honest because there's too much lethargy in the group. People are just like sitting back, and their whole game is to just kind of hang on. And that's more maybe for the Sore Ride, War Ride, TTH, but for this one, you need to be trying to participate and at least covering some things. So I'm kind of surprised that I have this much of a gap, and Joel is taking his time trying to bring me back in. But maybe with the wattage that I'm putting out, in the mid 200s, it's proving difficult. We got Beast coming up here on the left-hand side, and it's kind of interesting that his jersey somewhat matches Hernan's. And we're gonna just freeze that for a second so you can see that. Look at that, they almost match. Kind of nice. Anyway, both jerseys very nicely fitting here. I don't know if people will listen to me or whatever, but it's nice to see race kit in its nice form fitting people. And we got Scott there, also a nice kit. Haven't seen this one before, and look how nicely it fits. Matthew at the front, and look at the wattage. And I should say Matthew has given me his numbers, and you can see them there on the right-hand side. The big watts, you have Matthew's heart rate and power, along with my heart rate and power. Matthew driving hard at the front. Matthew pretty much owned the prospect sprint, and it's time for him to make a name for himself on Vine. And there are no supers today. And when I say supers, I mean the big men. That would be Byron, Bob, Ben Nelson, maybe Don Doherty. I'll throw him in that category. Todd Mellinger in that category. Brad Wright in that category. Roberto maybe in that category. So it's going to be up for everybody to do more work, and it's going to even things out, I believe, as people cannot rely on the supers to drag them up after some of the hard accelerations create selections. Matthew pulling hard up this little bit of a grade. And you can see I've got the little grade map up in the upper right-hand corner, so you can see what this one looks like. And everybody is in tow. Ian looking strong in the HP kit. Hernan looking strong. Justin not having a problem. Michael, Kent, Joel, and way in the back, Ilka and Isla. These are two participants that usually beg off of this as it is too dangerous, but maybe without the corners on prospect, they see it to be fit to try to contend. Ilka on the gravel bike, of course, and I always think the gravel bike, oh hell no, that's gotta go. But we'll see how she gets on. Dean at the front, throwing down some good wattage, taking over the lead, keeping the pace high, and look at that, 28 miles an hour. So it is no picnic for anybody here. And there is a slight bit of headwind, so it is what is keeping the group together. Haven't seen Dean in a while, and normally he kind of goes off the front, but this time, being in second position, he eases to the front and gives everybody a nice draft. I'm not actually sure what Dean's deal is. I know he's like a competitive athlete in the triathlons and in the sprint zones. We normally see him early on and then he just disappears. I don't know if it's because his coaches say, get this much work in, don't do anything more. But I'm thinking this is a lot more fun than obeying maybe what your coach actually says. Because what? It's going to make you, what, 30 seconds faster in a triathlon and you get an age group trophy? No disrespect to what you want, but I'm thinking it wouldn't hurt to hang it out here and have some fun. Looking rivered once again. Hernan looking strong off my wheel. You can see his kit fits quite nicely. And if you look at some of the wattage from his Strava rides, he is really putting it down this year. Much faster than last year and gained a lot of savvy riding with a bunch of different groups, OCR, PCR, TTH, TFR, and getting lots of experience out there. Scott takes the lead from Beast, and this is something that you normally do not see. Normally when the big man takes to the front, not many people can contribute. But look at the wattage that I have to put in and Beast has to put in just to stay with this. So I'm sitting in the mid 200s. And I must admit, I was thinking that I don't know how long I can hold this because if I have to go around at this effort, it's going to be something. But looking rearward, everyone is still here, and this is where like Dean, it looks like pops off at that point. I can see him way back there, just a little bit in front of that car. So I'm like, what up with that? Maybe I need to have a little chat with his coach, and maybe he'll chime in the comments and let me know what he's doing. Anyway, I'm now taking the lead, and my wattage is good, and that little surge that Scott put on plus my continuation has caused a little bit of contention amongst the wheel suckers. Getting a little bit strung out, but because the group is so long, it's pretty easy for the strongman to bring back people, and there are those who, in my opinion, are not worthy to be there, find themselves still in the selection as we are not able to get rid of them given the lack of technicality on this road. So I'm still at the front and I'm thinking I'm not going to pull these people. So at this point, I just kind of soft pedal. Look at my watts getting into the mid 100s, and it allows everybody to come back together as no one was ready to take on the mantle of making certain that the pace stayed high. I drift back to the pack and we see everybody is still here. Not certain what happened with the editing here showing the field. But regardless, I drift back and perhaps a little further than I would like. I slot in behind Ilka, a little bit in front of Isla, and the group is well behaved. I must say, after riding with the Fort Collins Club, after this ride, I really appreciate how smooth and how well behaved and predictable people are on this ride. I was on their ride, and for a B ride, I put in more effort than I did on this ride, and there were tons of attacks, and I was like, what? Strong riders, nice guys, but need to learn some proper etiquette. They could even be faster and more predictable. The people on this ride can ride in any group. They understand the etiquette of group rides in the area, War, SOAR, TTH, PCR, OCR, you name it, anybody's team ride, First City, everyone here would be welcome. And at some point, I may have to say something to these people in the other group to get them in line here. Anyway, I've digressed enough. Sitting in back here, and I'm trying to recover. My heart rate got into the 170s, and this means I am working hard. I think I've recovered from the weekend's race in Breckenridge, mountain bike race. which I placed well in my age group, took the podium, the top spot, so I'm happy there. And here we go. The action is on. Beast once again attacks, and I am the one to cover this one. It was nice that I was able to be far enough behind so that I could see the attack coming and sit in. And look at the carnage. The cat has indeed been thrown amongst the pigeon, and those that had been hiding their strength are forced to reveal themselves. John looking extremely strong here as we have a little bit of separation. But what? Kent Winters, a strong man bringing people back with Scott. Look at that. This is really the first time that I have called Kent's name in here. Maybe because it's the birthday boy and happy birthday, Kent, and you are surprising us. Everybody else comes up. I'm certain they appreciate your little gift to them. Justin looking extremely strong as he came up alongside. No issues with him covering any of the moves here. Michael still there. Hernan still there. And looking back to see if we were able to dispatch people, and I look behind and I'm seeing maybe the first bit of selection has been made. I do not see any gravel bikes in the group. I do not see Isla. Greg may have been dispatched as well. Hernan makes it back, and he was the man on the front when the attack began, so that's most impressive for him to be able to keep contact. And John goes super hard here, and this is a hard move. I was at the front here, and look at the wattage that the big man and I have to put up with to try to hang on to this. Beast doing 600s. I'm in the high 200s, and everybody is scrambling for a good wheel. This is indeed going to cause another selection as we can see people falling off. The pretenders are gone. It is the real men, the heads of state, that are only going to be here for the final selection. John, thank you for your service. That attack definitely caused a disturbance in the force, and it is appreciated. Let's see if John can get back on here, but looks like he's kind of sitting up. I slot in behind Joel, and my heart rate's at 171, so I am working pretty hard here. And at this point, I'm going to try to recover. Looking rearward, let us see what we have. Yes, and it looks like here we have the final selection. Kent Winters, impressive. Impressive performance, not only covering that move, but hanging in the final selection. Matthew hanging back there and looking at his heart rate, and you can see where he is able to recover a bit more than I am. Not certain why that is, but I think maybe because I was at the front when the last couple of attacks went, I am taxed. Regardless, the big man is resting here, and you can see his wattage is relatively low. My heart rate has not come down yet, and Hernan has gone to the front after having to dig deep to stay in contention. And this is what I like to see, everybody contributing in the final selection, everybody suffering. And the big move goes again. Look at that. There was like 1230 watts by Beast. And this is difficult. This is difficult to bring back in. Joel is struggling here, and I'm thinking in myself, I don't know if Joel can bring this back. And as much as I don't want to, I decide that I must go and show my strength at this point, perhaps sacrificing myself to bring Matthew back, because this is in fact a dangerous move. And it looks like another final selection has been made. People have been dispatched here as Beast has been brought back. Kent hanging on, and another counterattack by Justin and Scott going with him. I make the attempt to try to hang on, but at this point I am a bit winded. I am hoping people will come by and that I can maybe get some respite in some of the draft, but I think it's a little bit too late for me to be able to hang on here. The crest of the hill, as we can see, is right here, and as most people know, all of my sprint zones, or at least most of them, end at the crest of the hill, and it's about here that I give up the ghost. Matthew comes back by me. Good job, well done. A good time was had. It wasn't like anybody dominated this one. I would say maybe the most aggressive rider was definitely Matthew on this one. Here comes Kent. First time I can recall in a long time being in the GC and contributing, bringing back people. Well done, Kent. Well done. And as you can see, this is part of the TTH route, commonly known as Derek's Dead End. And I believe they may have been on the same route today. There was maybe a little concern that we might run into them and have some contention with people getting mixed with the groups, but that did not happen. Hernan comes by, pushing hard all the way to the end. He's definitely getting stronger and more savvy. Well done. And it looks like Justin took that one, if I didn't say that before. Well done, Justin. Well done. And Joel and Scott, excellent showings there. This was a fun one for the first recorded Vine sprint zone. Kind of a bummer my camera didn't work for the past few weeks because I had some good ones planned, but c'est la vie. You get what you get, and you know, sometimes you have to like deal with it. Anyway, a good time was had by all. Uh, had a great time, and I look forward to doing more of these. So, peace out, everyone.